Hi girls, this video is about different compounding periods and also using the calculator to work out some more complex sums. So far, we've been talking about annual interest rates, so interest rates that have a PA per annum after them, and investments that are for periods of a year. But sometimes we have interest that's compounded per month or per quarter, and we need to make some adjustments to our formula. So we have this formula, future value equals present value, 1 plus I over k to the power of kn. And k is a number of compounding periods per year, which could be months or quarters, and I is our interest rate. So let's see how this works. In this case, we have $8,800 is placed in an account which pays 4.8% per annum interest compounded monthly. Find the account balance after 3 years. So that means that every month the interest is compounded and the investment is reinvested. So our future value equals our present value, 8,800, times by 1 plus, now our interest rate, 0.048, divided by the number of compounding periods per year. So there are 12 months in a year because we're compounding per month. 12 times 3 because the formula says k times n. And that leaves us with a future value of 10,160.06. So let's look at how to use our calculator, and then we'll come back and do the questions in the booklet. So the first thing you need to know is that there's a financial maths section on your calculator that you can access by pressing Menu, Financial, and F2 to access the compound interest section. So I'll give you a moment now to get your calculator, press Menu, Financial, and F2. Once you've done that, it'll bring up a screen that has some letters, and I'm just going to read through the letters so that you understand what they mean. N represents the number of compounding periods. So that means how often we're compounding it. Are we compounding it every year, every 3 years, every month, every quarter? And for how long are we doing that? I equals the interest rate as a percentage, so we don't need to write it as a decimal. PV, the present value. PMT, the payment each time period. We don't really need to worry about that too much at the moment. FV, the future value. PY, the number of payments per year. CY, the number of compounding periods per year. Now, PY and CY will be the same. This menu is also used for loan repayments, and that's why some of the terms are a little bit unfamiliar. And that's it. The last part's not for us. Okay, so let's see how this works in action. Here's a picture. We've got n equals 60, so the 60 compounding periods, I percent, not as decimal, so it's not 0.04, it's 4.25. PV equals negative. Now this is really important because your calculations won't work unless you put the negative. I want you to imagine, we'll call her Sally, has a pot of money. So she's got some money and she goes to the bank to invest the money. So she puts the money in the bank. After she puts the money in the bank, how much money does Sally have? She has a negative amount of money. So let's say this was $100. The bank has now $100 and Sally has negative $100. And that's why these calculations for the calculator, we put a negative there. Because we've put the money in the bank and we have therefore a negative amount of money. Even though the money is still ours in the bank, we have a negative. So that negative sign is really important for the present value. And down here, this line of symbols are what we're looking for. And we press one of these. If I was looking for future value, I would press future value. If I was looking for percent, I would press percent. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do a question. Sally invests $15,000 in an account that pays 4.25% per annum compounded monthly. How much is her investment worth after 5 years? Okay, so we've got n equals 5 times 12. Now, why is that? Compounded monthly, so there's 12 months and 5 years. So 12 times 5 equals 60 compounding periods. We've got a percentage. Our present value is negative because that's the amount she's putting in. Payments is 0. Now, there are 12 months in a year, so our PY and CY are 12. So that's the amount of compounding that we could do in a year. Okay, so let's enter all this into our calculator and we get n equals 60, I is 4.25, PV negative 15,000, 0. Now I need to know the future value, so I press FV and here we go. There's my answer. The future value is approximately $18,544.53. So a couple of things to remember about this question. The n is 60 because we're compounding every month for 5 years. 5 lots of 5 lots of 12 is 60. We're in negative because Sally's gone to the bank, given her $15,000, which means she has negative 15,000 now. These 12s, so PY, CY are always the same. The 12 is because we're compounding monthly. So the maximum times you can compound in a year is 12 months. So a little bit different. Helena is investing money in a term deposit paying 5.2% compounded quarterly. So there's 4 quarters in a year. How much does she need to deposit now? So we're looking for her present value in order to collect $5,000 at the end of 3 years. So 4 quarters in a year and 3 years gives us an N of 12. We've got our percentage. We have no present value. We do have a future value, and the future value is going to be positive. And the maximum number of compounding periods in a year is 4 because there's 4 quarters in a year. So let's see what that should look like on your calculator. We've got n equals 12, I equals 5.2. The present value will be 0 at first before you enter anything. So this will be 0, So there'll be nothing there at all because you don't know that. All the other information, and then you'll press PMT and this answer will pop up for you. And then you'll get 4282.10, and that will be the amount of money that you need to deposit. Note, really important note here. The calculator is going to give you a negative. If you write down your answer as negative 4282, it will be wrong. You need to write a positive answer in this sentence. That amount of money needs to be deposited. All right, excellent. Okay, so this time we're looking for time. So Magnus has got $4,000, 6.4%, compounded half yearly. So this is a new one, half yearly, and we're going to amount to $10,000. So $4,000 present value, negative again. PMT, 0, future value, 10,000. Half yearly, there's 2 half yearly periods. Putting it into the calculator, now remember n will be 0 at first. So it's going to be 0 because we don't know what that is. Put all our information in and then press n, and that will be our answer here. One last one that you can read through. The only difference here is that we're looking for the annual rate of interest, compounding monthly, and 2.5 years. Enter the information in, press I for interest, and you'll get the information out. Remembering I comes as a percentage, so you don't need to change it to a decimal. Okay, so there's 3 examples in your booklet that I'd like you to do using your calculator. So stop the video, do the examples, and then come back and check and see if you're right. There's a lot of questions in the book. Ideally, you do all of them as good practice, but I'm going to limit the number that I expect you to do. So from 3C3, just do the questions listed, and from 3C4, do the questions listed there.